Hi, welcome back to Resin by Drew. Now, a couple of months ago I made these Terrazzo chips. I made them I had some leftover resin to start with, so I just poured a very thin layer onto a silicone mat, and then just before it's set up I cut them up into these little chips. Let me do a different colour, it might show up better against my glove. And I thought it would be nice to try and make them into coasters. Now the only problem that I've got is I can foresee that there could be a lot of air bubbles. So I thought perhaps a way to get around that is to try and put a thin layer of clear down first and put the chips into the clear and then back it with a layer of opaque white resin. So I thought I'd give that a go. So I've got my resin ready, so I'm just going to pour the resin into each of the coasters. It's as always, or more often than not, it's a round coaster mould from Moulds and Shapes. I do love their moulds, so they're the ones that I tend to use more than anything else. Now I only want this to be a thin layer. I do want it to spread across the whole base, but I am going to give it a blast with the heat gun to try and get any little bubbles out. Just give this a quick blast with the heat gun. We'll even do the heart in the middle, I think, today. So now I'm going to pop in some chips. I want to try and pop them into the resin. I don't want them to look as though they've been placed. I want them to look more scattered, more irregular than they've actually been placed. I am going to use all of the colours, I think, mix them up a little. It could just end up being a mess of bubbles on the front. But I just wondered if by doing it this way and putting a thin layer of resin at the front first, we might get around the bubbles. I'll leave the black for there. Come back and pop some more black in. I'm not sure how much of each colour to put in at the moment. I think the key might be to push the chips down. I can use a little cocktail stick or a dotting tool to do that, I think. into my gloves a little bit, because I'm putting my gloves into the resin to put the chips in, and there's more chips actually sticking to my gloves now. I'm going to have to keep giving them a wipe, I think. And I'm going to go in with the darkest colour. I like the colours together. I can't remember what they are, if I'm completely honest. As I say, it's a couple of months since I made them, so I can't remember what colours they actually are. I think they were a combination of mica powder and pigment paste, if I remember rightly. Yeah, I think once they're placed in, I'll come back with a dotting tool and just push them all down under the resin, try and release any little air bubbles that might be trapped underneath at that point. I thought it'd be nice with a white opaque backing layer, just to make the colours of the chips stand out more. But as I say, we could just end up with a bubbly mess on the front. So let's get them all in. We'll see what happens. Just keep our fingers crossed. Any in the heart yet? I'll find some nice small ones for the heart. My hands a wipe. more. Okay, so I think that's probably enough chips. So I'm going to get my dotting tool. I'm going to try and push each of the chips down to the bottom. And then I'm going to give it a blast with the heat gun. And hopefully that will help the bubbles that could be trapped underneath the little terrazzo chips to release, so that we don't just end up with a front full of bubbles. But worst case scenario, if I do have bubbles on the front, then what I could do is try and go in with a clear layer on top of that afterwards. Because I'm doing the black and white layer separately, I can always try and go in on the front and just top up with a clear layer. But how about, rather than sitting watching me push all these pieces down, how about I pause the video, I'll push all the pieces down, I'll give it a blast with the heat gun, and then I'll come back and give you another look before I set it to rest, or I'll just set it to rest until tomorrow or later on today, and then we'll come back and put the white coat on. So I'll pause the video for now and I'll be back soon. See you soon. Hi, welcome back. Yesterday we started off these Terrazzo chip coasters, and today I'm going to put the opaque white backing layer on. So for that I'm using Resin 8 pigment in white. So I'm just going to stir, as always, stir the mixture in the pot. I want a little bit out more than usual on my stick compared to the coasters, because I do want it a bit more opaque. So I'm just going to pop that into my resin and mix it. Give it a good mix. Now I did actually have enough resin left to make a holder for these, so I'll show you the holder in a minute when we go to put the backing layer onto there as well. Let's give this a really good mix. Opaque enough there. Mustn't forget my little heart in the middle. Like I say, I'm really interested to turn them over and find out what's happening on the underneath. I just hope it's not a big bubble fest going on under there. I have to wait until later on today or tomorrow to find out now. Let this cure up first. Okay. Put the lid back on there. Just going to give this a quick blast with the heat gun, and I'll move this one out of the way and we'll do the holder. So I'll just move this one out of the way, and then I'll bring on the holder and show you the holder that I made. here's the little holder. It is the matching holder. It goes with the coaster tray for moulds and shapes. So we'll just make sure we've got all of the resin out of this pot before we carry on. Now, one of the keys to this mould is on the leg part of the mould to not dome. If you dome the legs, then you risk them not fitting through the holes. These are the holes, the cutouts for the legs, and if you dome the legs, then you make them too thick and they don't fit through the holes. So we're going to start with the main part, and then we're just going to go in and put, probably easiest to do it like this on the legs, to be fair. Like I say, I do not want to dome the legs. Oops, got a bit of overspill there already. Wipe that away in a minute with a cloth once I've done the heat. Okay, so I'm just going to give this a quick blast with the heat gun, and then I will put this to one side to cure up, but I will wipe away the overspill first, and just don't want to wipe this overspill away and then splash some more on and have to wipe that, so it's easier to do it this way. So I'll just give it a quick blast with the heat gun. In fact, I'll pause the video here actually. I'll pause the video, I'll give it a quick blast with the heat gun, and then we'll be back later on today or tomorrow for the demoulding. See you soon. Hi, welcome back. Right, we're going to demold these Terrazzo piece coasters and the coaster holder and see how they've turned out. Now, I'm a bit nervous that it could just be a bubble fest on the front, so we'll start with the legs on the holder first. Oh no, that's not at all. That's really good. I'm really pleased with that one leg. Got 3 legs and the rest of it to go, but I'm really pleased with that. And that's not at all. This looks more promising than I expected. This is really good. And the holder itself. Oh wow, that's great. Got a little bit of overspill on one of the leg, where one of the legs goes there, but the legs will go in just like that. A little bit of overspill, I think, there. Oh no, that's okay. But the legs will go in like that, and then I'll glue the legs in. But that is absolutely brilliant because there are no air bubbles whatsoever. It's just clear Terrazzo chips, so I'm really pleased with that. Let's move on and look at the coasters. Hopefully the coasters have come out just as well. And don't forget the little heart piece. I'll just pop the moulds to one side. Okay, so let's have a look at the coasters. Oh wow! The coasters have come out the same. So it's not a bubble fest after all. This is the best way to do it. If I put a thin layer of resin down with the Terrazzo chips in the thin layer of resin and then back it in white or whatever other colour I'm going to use, then that seems the best way to do it. But I'm so pleased with those. I was a bit nervous because I thought it was just going to be a big bubble fest on the front, but it's not at all. I can't see any bubbles. I'm really happy with those, and they're also nice and smooth. It's not that they're a terrazzo chip sticking up, making your coffee wobbly or anything like that. I'm really happy with those. Can you tell I'm happy? Sorry. And the little heart there. No, they're great. I got what? Oh no, I thought that was a little bubble. It's just a little bit of extra spare. No, I'm really happy with those. They're brilliant. And then they'll go on there like that with the little legs running through up the sides. That's great. I'm really happy. So I'll finish the legs off, deal with the little bit of overspill that I've got, sort the legs off, sort the legs out, and glue the legs in, and then they're finished. That's really good. I'm really happy with those. So I'll be back with another experiment soon. See you soon. Bye.